Ladies and gentlemen, it is my humble duty tonight to introduce you to the Grand and Imperial Wizard of the Invisible Knights of the Ku Klux Klan, Mr. Bill Wilkerson. Oh, Imperial Wizard, can you tell me and us, 100 years after you your predecessors set the South aflame with the cross burnings, lynchings, and other events, you should be bothering this country still?
To begin with, I believe a slight rebuttal is in order for your opening statements or the opening statements that was made about the Klan. We are not anti-Catholic. We are not anti-Semitic. We believe in the white race. We believe that at this point in time that white Americans are being treated as second-class citizens, that the federal laws, the civil rights laws, have created a dual system of justice in this country, a set of federal laws that protects the interest of minorities and local and state laws.
But Grand and Imperial Wizard,
if I may, of white people.
If I may interrupt, if I might be so bold as to interrupt the Imperial Wizard, it says on a sheet that you people hand out to the young and the youths of our high schools, it says, if you want to join the Klan, quote, "I swear that I am of white, non-Jewish heritage. Are you fed up with special privileges given to blacks?" That's a quotation from your own literature.
Absolutely. We are
well,
a Christian.
What do you mean you're not anti-Semitic?
We are a Christian organization. We also don't allow Buddhists or Muslims or atheists in the organization.
When did you take in the Pat Buchanans? When I was a kid in Dubuque, Iowa, the Ku Klux Klan, which was then fairly powerful in Indiana, about 1922 or 3, somewhere in there, you were anti-Catholic.
The Klan has had different views from time to time on lesser issues. The one issue we've never changed on is that of segregation. We believe that God has commanded us to separate ourselves from other races. In fact, that's not a unique stand. Billy Graham, just a few years ago, himself segregated his crusade audiences. He preached segregation. The Southern Baptist and the National Baptist, one was black, one was white. They practice and preach segregation. So we didn't invent segregation. We just still believe in it.
Let me ask you about something, and you did correct it, let me say, before the show started, something I was unaware of. But there are a number of Klan organizations, and I gather it is not yours, who march in tandem, arm in arm, with members of the American Nazi Party. Now, the Nazis were responsible for the murder, not simply of Jews in Germany, but American pilots, American soldiers. They're guilty of all manner of horrid atrocities. They have on their, I guess on their record, some 250,000 American dead. Now, why would any patriotic American, or one who calls himself a patriotic American, be anywhere near the swastika, the insignia of Hitler's Germany?
Well, as you conceded before the show, I did clear up that point. The Klan, the Invisible Empire, which I head, detests Nazis as much as we do communists. But I'd like to make one thing clear, that there's too much hype today about the Germans and the Nazis. Let's not forget that the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor and they led to death marches in Bataan. I don't believe that we should condemn all of the Germans for something that happened in Germany 40 years ago. And I do condemn what Hitler did to any.
Why would any patriot, someone who calls himself a patriot, and a Klan's groups with which I guess you're associated with members, if not the leadership, why would they march with people who march under the swastika?
We don't.
You don't. Why do your colleagues do that?
I believe, to make it clear at first, we're the only national Klan organization left. There have been those that have come and gone. It's sort of like the political parties, the Democrats, Republicans, American independents. They come and they go. They splinter and they regroup and rejoin. Right now, we are the major unquestioned Klan organization in America. There's some people that we have expelled from our organization that will start other branches. In their anxiety to get membership and support, they will join with anyone, including Nazis.
This is not your organization, doesn't believe that. But I believe a quote by you I read in a book on the Klan today. You were denouncing the quote, I think it was Jew-controlled media. Have you used that term?
I may have used that term.
It's a direct quote.
I may have used that term some years ago.
Well, what do you mean by that?
But I don't mean by that anything at this point in time. I believe that a lot of Jews are prominent in the media, but I believe a lot of Baptists and a lot of Methodists and a lot of other people
Why
are.
would you use the term Jew-controlled media? You know?
Well,
I mean, you don't run around saying the Baptist-controlled media is keeping us off the air, do you?
I no longer use that term. This has been a number of years ago that I would have made that comment, and I'm not apologizing for what I might have said at that time.
All right, let's talk about blacks.
All right.
Why are you
wait a
running
minute, I want to
around?
go, you know, my brother came back from the airborne in Vietnam, and he told me, you know, and that of the bodies that he took out as a medical officer, he said, you know, 50% of those guys were black kids, served in the United States and Vietnam. This was a, you know, it was a crack frontline unit, and these were American blacks who died in higher numbers for their country in Southeast Asia in that war than did white Americans, as a matter of fact, in the Vietnam War. Now, how can you be against a race which contains people who are out there fighting for their country just as much as white Christian Protestant Americans are?
That's something else that needs to be cleared up, Pat. We're not against the black race. We're not against, we believe in free enterprise for this country. We believe that everyone should have the same rights.
Well,
Right
Mr.
now-
Wizard, it
right-
says
now, wait a
right
minute.
here, wait a
Right-
minute,
right
Mr.
now-
Wizard. Let
right-
me interrupt you
I-
for a minute, Mr. Wizard. It says
didn't
right
let
here,
me finish.
you believe in the final solution, which is black repatriation to Africa. Now, do you really
Abraham
think
Lincoln, but now
you're
look,
running
I'm
around on
not,
this
I'm
bed
not going to
sheet?
be cut off in the middle
No,
of-
but I'm not going to
of
be
a
shut
very-
off either. You're running around on a bed sheet. I don't have the bed sheet. But I just want to tell you, can you I want to ask you this question. Can you imagine this country repatriating all the black Americans that Pat just spoke about to Africa?
No.
I mean, what kind of nonsense
No, I
is
can't.
that? Well,
I
what are you
sure
saying
can't.
it for then?
I'm not saying it.
Well,
You
it
said
says right here.
No, that's your paper. That's not my paper.
That's your paper. I took the
No,
quote
no,
and
no,
wrote
no,
it
no.
on this blue
That's
type.
not my paper. Now, to get
Is that
back to
his-
it,
is that
to
not
get back
your
to it. Now,
plan?
just a minute. I answered your question. Now, I want to finish what I was saying. We feel that affirmative action is discriminating against white people, and there is no question about it. Two wrongs don't make a right. Because black people were hurt and discriminated against in the past does not justify the discrimination
now,
against white people now.
Mr. Wilkerson,
And we're
I
asking
didn't
for an
ask you-
end to that.
Look, I'm against reverse discrimination. I'm
Okay,
against racial
good.
quotas. I'm against affirmative action as it's practiced. But you said, when I introduced you, I didn't say that your organization was. I said historically to most Americans, you're anti-Catholic and anti-Semitic and racist. In other words, anti-black. You said,
Okay.
we're not anti-Catholic.
Right.
We're not anti-Semitic. You didn't deny the racist thing.
Well, it depends on your definition of racist.
What-
I'm a
what-
segregationist, okay? I believe that God has commanded me not to mix with other races.
How far
For that
would
reason, I want to have schools where I can send my children to a white school. I want to be able to go to my white neighborhoods, to white businesses,
All right, you
for
can
those
do
things.
that.
So if that
You
terms
can
me as
do
a
that.
racist, then I'm a racist.
Wait a minute, you can do that, but you can't have tax exemptions in your all-white school. And if
Well,
it's a public school,
you-
now black kids whose parents' taxes pay for that school, they got a right to go to that neighborhood school. Now, if you want an all-white school, all-white academy, you can do that right now. You just don't get a tax exemption for it. So what's your complaint?
You say you can do that. Now, maybe I can, maybe you can, but what about the poor people that don't have the money to send their children to private schools? They can't. They're being deprived the right to practice their religion because they don't have the money to send them to a private school. There's no reason why in this great land of ours we couldn't have a three-tiered school system, a black school and a white school and an integrated school, and give everyone their choice. We would have much less dissension, we would have much less racial problems in the schools, and if those people that are seeking to integrate the races in this country really were seeking to do the best for both races, they would adopt this system and let integration proceed gradually.
What do you think our founding fathers meant when they said "we, the people of the United States"?
Well, I won't get into that debate, but
Well, I know, but you're sitting here in your bed sheet telling us all that the only thing you're for, you're against.
You're really
Let's see.
upset about my bed sheet,
Oh
aren't
yeah,
you?
I think if I were you, I would be so ashamed of myself. I mean, I can't imagine walking around in that silly costume, telling people to be against blacks and against Jews.
Have you ever seen the Pope and the Cardinals in their costumes?
Yeah, but they're religious and they're for something, and you're just nothing but against something, and you're
No,
against
I
the very
believe in-
spirit
I
of this
believe in
country.
the same God
You're
that the
against
Pope
the
does.
thing.
No, we're not.
You're against the thing that makes this
No.
country a unity and that makes this country great. And I think you're a disgrace.
You know nothing about what I believe and what I
I just
stand
heard
for.
what you believed.
And you think
Now,
that's
you tell me,
wrong? I believe in God. Is that wrong?
Do you deny that you said this? This is the literature you're handing out to schools, to school children in America? I just quoted this from your own pamphlet. Are you fed up, it says here, with blacks following you home, trying to beat you up?
That's
Do you
right.
deny that you said that?
No, I don't. And let me tell you, that happens more times in America than what you can shake a stick at.
Blacks?
Blacks.
Try to follow you home and beat you up. I mean,
We've had
really.
more racial
You're
problems
a damn
and muggings.
disgrace to the country.
No. No,
Oh,
Tom.
yes, you are.
I have a strong belief.
And you know
in
what?
fact-
You people
in
were
fact-
beaten. I don't know what we're doing in 1982 talking to you.
Well, that's your problem, Tom. But let me tell you one thing. I'm not beaten, the Klan is not beaten, and the white race is not beaten. No more than the Democrats is beating or the Republicans is beaten. They're all fighting for the things that they believe in, and we believe in something.
All right, what
and
do you believe in?
we're earnestly, through the law,
Well, let's get
Now, you tell me what you
Trying
were
to
against.
achieve
What do
it.
you believe in?
what we believe in.
What are you for?
We believe in God, we believe in the United States of America, and we believe that God has commanded us to separate ourselves from other races. Not because we hate the other races or because we feel that we're better or worse, but
We're gonna
because
have to
we
take a
feel it's
break.
God's commandment. And if you criticize that and our religion, then you're criticizing the Christianity for the last 2,000 years.
All right.